Hello, me. Remember this day. This is the day that nothing really worked out according to plan. And by the time I watch this video late at night, hopefully in the hot tub with a glass of wine, I'll reminisce and laugh. But today's not that day. So, with the best intentions, I arrived 30 minutes early to check out the plane, do the paperwork, and the first thing that put me behind was that the plane needed gas. That means I had to taxi out to the fuel tanks and fill up, and that's, another 20 minutes. It's good practice, but not exactly what I want to be doing. But when I got to the pump, it required a fleet code from the flight school, and I didn't know that. So after looking through the binder and I didn't find it, I had to call back to dispatch and get the code, and there goes another couple of minutes. And then, of course, after pushing the plane away from the pumps and getting an open spot on the apron, the engine's flooded and it doesn't start. This is not thrilling entertainment, and I cut out all of those shenanigans from this video, but I left in the defeated look in my face on the last attempt, and at least it started. But the way I look at it, it's often the worst days that gives you the best opportunity to learn and grow. Well, most of the time. Possibly. Maybe. On this solo flight, I had originally planned to practice my navigation to and from Pitt Meadows to Chilliwack, with a checkpoint right at Hatzick Lake because it's right in between the two of them. And once there, my second item was going to be a diversion back to Pitt Meadows. And after completing that exercise, I was going to do a precautionary landing, which is essentially a landing, in a field. You're not crash landing, but you're just landing. A diversion and a precautionary are two things I've never actually done with or without an instructor, so I was going to attempt it on my own, but the world had better plans for me. The reality is that I spent so much time trying to figure out how to get my plane ready, I just ran out of time for the flight. Of course, as a student pilot with only about 55 hours at the time of this video, and of those, only about 12 are solo, just getting myself sorted and ready is taking me forever. Again, this is not thrilling entertainment.
Hello? 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 Your training will be limited. Inform ATC on initial contact of information Delta. Mills Airport, ATIS information Delta, limited weather 2320 Zulu, wind 20010, tower visibility 20,
over, it will be 2,500 feet, and 6 your zone to fish out.
Capacity VFR aircraft may anticipate delays and circuit training will be limited. Inform ATC on initial contact of information Delta.
2,500, okay, westbound.
Airport, ATIS information Delta, limited weather 2320 Zulu, wind 20010, tower visibility 20, sky condition view above 5,000, altimeter 3013, high for approach visual running 18, landing and departing running 18. Note, due to reduced system capacity, VFR aircraft may anticipate delays and circuit training will be limited. Inform ATC on initial contact of information Delta. Mills Airport, ATIS information Delta, limited weather 2320 Zulu, wind 20010, tower visibility 20, sky condition view above 5,000, altimeter 3013, high for approach visual running 18, landing and departing running.
Pit ground, Cessna 172, Golf Alpha Golf Victor on apron 1 by the fuel tanks. Taxi for a local east departure, please.
Golf Alpha Golf Victor, pit ground, ready 18, altimeter 3012, taxi Alpha Golf Delta Foxtrot, cross 26 left and right, contact tower holding short, squawk 0772.
Okay, taxi Alpha Golf Delta Foxtrot holding short, cross 26 left holding short, and 18. Squawk 0772.
Yeah, can you just direct clear touch and go over any 18?
Because of the wind, I got a much longer taxi instruction and to a different runway than I'm normally used to. And this added time, and I also needed to check my for-flight taxi map to make sure I knew where I was going. Like, I think I knew. I'm pretty sure I knew, but I didn't want to be that guy screwing up along the ground. Like, that's so noob. So here I'm crossing a runway, and normally this is my active runway. And even though I nearly aced the written exam, I'm still second guessing every piece of knowledge as to whether I can just cross it without a further clearance, or should I hold short and call back. And I kind of couldn't remember, but I kind of did. Now, looking back, it's clear ATC already gave me this clearance, but still, I was a bit nervous. I checked to make sure nothing was on final. Still, it added a little bit of extra time and anxiety that I didn't need for myself, because I can do that all on my own. So one of the things I have been working on is trying not to ride the brakes. It's really easy to do. And by that, I mean, when I'm coming to a corner, you pull the throttle and then you use the brake when you turn instead of just like braking and turning. Now, this seems obvious. Like in a car, you're coming up to a stop sign, you don't like push the brake and the gas at the same time. But when you've got the throttle pushed in, it's like pushing your foot down on the gas, and you actually have to pull it back if you want to brake. I mean, why wouldn't you do that? However, there's one thing I could have done here. I could have taken the opportunity to ensure that I was practicing proper yoke discipline. And by that, I mean you're looking at the wind and you're keeping your wheel turned into the wind if the wind's coming, towards you and from the side. And if it's coming from behind you, you dive away. That's something that's going to be on the flight tests, but I just didn't do it. It's one of those habit things you got to get going.
Lima Oscar, Peter.
Yeah, we're just off Langley, about 6 miles to the south, climbing out of 400 feet, like the transition year zone to the second narrow bridge. It's 2,000 feet.
Lima Oscar, Roger, squawk it in, altimeter 3012, clear northwestbound, 2000.
There's the ident, northwestbound, 2,000, Lima Oscar.
Lima Oscar, Oscar, identified.
Okay, this is thrilling stuff. Alright, aircraft into the wind. Nose wheel straight. Brakes are on. Fuel selector valve. Both tanks. Mixture is rich. Oil and temperatures are green. Area behind is clear. Suction gauge is good. Magneto. Oh, let's do this first. 1,800. Good. All good. 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 Okay. Ground lane. Alright, harness and doors. Let's close this. Baggage loose vertical, secured. Flight controls, free and correct. Good. Trim is set.
Lima Oscar, traffic, Patella Bridge, northbound Cessna 1100, type and altitude and verified.
Lima Oscar, Oscar.
0772. Fuel is sufficient. Master switch is on, annunciate panel is correct. Those are both. autopilot is off, direction set, mixture is rich, flight instruments check and set, avionics are takeoff briefing. Gonna do a normal takeoff from runway 18, taxiing to the middle of the runway, applying full power. I will control left yaw with right rudder. I will confirm full static power. I will call gauges are green and call airspeed alive. When the needle moves at 55 knots, I will call rotate and climb to 500 feet above ground we'll do VY today, which is 4. And at the runway heading as directed by ET. Takeoff safety, prior to rotation. If I encounter any problems affecting flight safety, calling reject and safety taxi off the runway. After rotation, only stopping for failures or fires. Sufficient runway length, landing on the runway. Insufficient runway length, pitching for best glide at 65 and landing. Well, we're going to the north. Vital emergency checklist actions are mixture idle cut off, fuel pulled, ignition off, doors unlatched, master is off. Above 800 feet, pitching for best glide, turning airfield. If I'm not airborne by about the halfway point, I'm going to call reject and flight. Considering the problem affecting flight safety, all other emergencies will climb to a certain altitude and circle for a normal landing.
That north corner of the freeway, and so it's ready to change our frequencies.
Okay.
Hey, Tower Air 2, we're northbound, north side of the...
Okay, oil and pressure, we're still good.
Air 2, pitch our
Landing light
3012.
is on.
Like what?
Nav lights are on, strobe lights are on, pitot is not needed, heading is set. Mixture is rich. Transponder ALT 0772.
Right, downwind for touch and go.
Takeoff.
Thank you, to number 1, renew 18.
54.
Thank you, to attack, clear touch and go, renew 18.
Thank you, Julie.
The reason I keep looking around here, though, is that I was positive I heard a clearance given to another aircraft in the circuit, like they were on final, but I never saw the plane. So I'm thinking, where is it? Like, did they sort of come in and, go overshoot or something like that? So I'm still wondering where this guy is. It just didn't make sense. It's kind of like fake throwing a ball for your dog, and the dog goes running, and then it's like, well, where is it? Yeah, that's what I felt like.
Good day again, Pit Meadows Ground. Good day again, and happy Canada Day. Aaron, Quebec Oscar Uniform Apron 1, requesting taxi instructions to take off on 18 or 26 left if available. Straight out departure. Local flight to Seychelles, and we have information.
Quebec Oscar and pick ground up, from 26 left available, wind 2107, altimeter 3012. Taxi via Alpha, contact tower holding short, squawk 2410.
Local Quebec Oscar Uniform.
I've heard this guy in the radio before. He sounds so typically Canadian.
Thank you, make this
I'll bet he's an
pattern left
awesome
hand.
guy.
Thank you, Julie.
Fifth Tower, Alpha Golf Victor is holding short on Foxtrot for 18, ready to go.
Alpha Golf Victor Tower, left down departure to the north, clear takeoff for new 18.
Left down, wind departure to the north, Alpha Golf Victor, clear for takeoff. Right, feet to the floor. Here we go. Alright, there's the green. Airspeed is alive. And rotate.
Tower, Cessna 172, Foxtrot Charlie Tango, on a pin 1, look at the taxi for local north with Delta.
Back Oscar from ready to go.
Ready to go, Quebec Oscar uniform.
Back Oscar from Tower, wind 2108, straight departure, clear takeoff, ready 26 soft.
Quebec Oscar uniform.
Foxtrot Charlie Tango, pick ground, ready 18, altimeter 3012, taxi via Alpha Golf Delta Foxtrot, cross ready 26 left and right, contact tower holding short, squawk 2413.
Squawk 2413, Foxtrot Charlie Tango.
Tower, Yankee Juliet, left downwind for touch and go.
Yankee Juliet, tower clear touch and go, ready 18.
Yankee Juliet.
Good Tower, Alpha Golf Victor, just confirming a local east departure.
Alpha Golf Victor, my apologies, eastbound is approved.
Alpha Golf Victor, thank you.
Good evening, Cessna 172, Golf X-ray uniform Delta, with Delta 1700, Port Moody inbound for full stop.
Golf X-ray uniform Delta, pit tower, squawk it in, ready 18, altimeter 3012, clear to our right base.
Right base 18, X-ray uniform Delta.
X-ray uniform Delta, tower identified.
Well, such a late start today that I don't think I'm going to get done what I want to. So I'm going to level off at 20.
Golf Victor, tower spin, ready, change armor frequencies.
Alpha Golf Victor, good day. On to 72. Oh, 2300 is good, and I'm going to set my heading. Okay, let's come to cruise here.
So coming to cruise is more than just leveling off and pulling the power. It's an entire checklist section, and I should probably check it. You've got taxi and landing lights, check your heading indicator, set your throttle mixture, tune your radio, and if you're on a flight, you revise your ETA, and you should also check the gauges. You can't just like call cruise like I did and just be in cruise. It's kind of like on The Office when standing on a chair, Michael Scott says, "I declare bankruptcy." That's not what declaring bankruptcy is. Kind of the same thing, right? Anyways, get it in your head. Checklist on cruise. It's on the flight test. If you don't do it, bad news.
Alright, so I'm going to go up to 3000.
Traffic 2272, north of Mission, helicopter Golf, Charlie Hotel, Julie Medevac. We're at 2,500 feet, about 2 miles north of Mission, and we are westbound for Vancouver, Charlie Hotel, Julie Medevac.
Alright, 3000 feet. 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 3000 Alright. 6 o'clock eve.
And traffic stable Ave area, Charlie Hotel Juliet Medevac, 2,500. 1 mile to the east of Stave Lake and near Stave Falls, and we'll be westbound for Vancouver.
Alright, 70 slot. Ledbrook Valley traffic, Alpha Golf Victor, Cessna 172 at 3000, just the western end of the Farmers Fields, and I'll be transiting through to Chilliwack. Alright, let's see if I can one here. I don't see anyone. Let's use our heading bug.
Glen Valley traffic, Cessna 172 Golf Alpha Mike November overhead the northern ends of the Farmers Fields at 2,700, descending for simulated force approaches over the fields for Alpha Mike November.
Glen Valley traffic, 152 Golf November overshooting Farmers Field east to west, climbing 2,000, heading 264.
And traffic Glen Valley area, Sikorsky Golf Charlie Hotel Juliet Medevac, 2,500 over Stave Falls, westbound for Vancouver.
Alright, he's over there. Hello.
The headphone jack has a habit of coming loose or making a bad connection.
Fuck's sake.
And it's super annoying when I've got lots of other things going on. But it keeps happening to me.
Hello, hello. So in theory, what I was going to do today is a nav practice till Hatsuk Lake up here, at which point I was going to do a diversion back to Pitt Meadows, and then I was going to try a forced or a precautionary landing, but don't think I have time for the precautionary today, fortunately. Let's two. All right. I am keeping my altitude, so that's good. Nice change of pace. Mission traffic, Cessna 172 Golf Alpha Golf Victor over the city. I am transiting to Chilliwack right to about Sumas Mountain, then turning back around at 3,000 feet. Alright, so here's my checkpoint. I'm right on target, which is good. Feet. Well, I have 13 minutes calculated as an ETA. My elapsed timer is currently 6 minutes and 10 seconds, so I'm going to be pretty much dead on. And there we go, literally seconds on. 6:30. So time is 6:07. And duration minutes 6.3. I'm doing 114 knots, which means 12 nautical miles to Chilliwack. It's Chilliwack City, which is where I was going to be going, and I'm right on time. So that's great. So I'm going to attempt to do a diversion now. So I'd like to go back to Pitt Meadows. For whatever reason, the weather is not good as we go this way. So I'm going to slow my airplane down a little bit. Check right. Clear right, we're good. Get a rate 1 coordinated turn. Not doing slow flight. Check my wings. Staying coordinated. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Pitt Meadows, which is about over there. I'm going to aim myself at Thornhill. Can't actually see because of the haze. Doing traffic, Cessna 172, Golf Alpha Golf Victor, heading west towards Pitt Meadows at 3,000 feet, just over the field. Alright, so I want to get to 3,000. So my set heading point is going to be Mission Bridge. Let's go that way. Back to Pitt Meadows. Alright, so on my map, let's get trimmed. Slow down a bit. So we're going about 90. So we're at Mission Bridge. So that's 9. Keeping my so we're going to be about 6 minutes. That's 8. About 10 minutes. 10 minutes, it's good. Here, compass rose. But you want to go to about 270. Alright. So, Mission Bridge, I'm going to be going at 270. And 10 minutes, I've got more than enough endurance. Got about a 5.5 hour endurance.
Yeah, I missed a couple of things there, buddy. First, even though I used a bit of a shortcut to calculate the time, I should just stick to the convention. And that is you pull out your map and you draw a circle, and a line. And then you calculate heading, distance, time. It's like Dr. Seuss. You're not supposed to forget it. Now, circle, line, that's just marking your map, 2 points that you want to be, right? Where you are, or at least where your heading is, and then where your diversion airport is. That's the line you draw on your map. The heading, you compute it by using your pencil, and you go and find a VOR compass rose on the map, and then you roughly estimate what magnetic heading you need to be hitting. That's easy. Then you also use your pencil and you stick it onto the map and the lines of latitude, 1 nautical mile each. That's how you figure out, how far you have to go. It's kind of where the term rule of thumb comes from. My thumb is, I think, 3 nautical miles on a VNC chart. But if you also take your airspeed, which is let's say you're doing 90 knots, you can go to your lines of latitude and mark out 9, just because, that's the distance that you're going to be able to fly in 6 minutes, right? Because 90 knots divided by 10 is the same thing as 60 minutes divided by 10, right? 6 minutes. So I think I actually did okay here, but I did get some major things wrong. And I mean, pretty major, because this is why we even do it in the first place. One is time. I didn't record the time over the set heading point. And this is crucial because A, I can't estimate the ETA without it. I need to know how much time it's going to take to get back to the airport because my flight plan needs to be updated. The $1,000,000 question on a diversion is endurance. Like, how long is it going to take you to get there is great, but do you have enough fuel to get there? Endurance. So you need to know the endurance of the airplane, which means before you took off, you need to know how much gas you have, and then you have to times that by your average gallons per hour. So let's say in that airplane, I have 50 gallons of fuel and it's 10 gallons an hour. I should be able to go for 10 hours. No, 5 hours. See? Anyways, 5 hours. So you take the time that you've been in the air up until that point, and then you add you take a little bit away for the taxi and the run up, and that's how much endurance you have left. And then you take away how long it's going to take you based on the calculations you've just done to get to the next airport. And the remainder, hopefully, is going to be a positive number because you've got more than enough fuel to get there. That is what you really need to know. That's the most important thing you can do on a diversion. Will you fall out of the air before you get there?
One thing with the diversion, now that I think about it, which I really should have done, is I needed to contact Pacific Radio. So that's in Abbotsford, 12237. I would have advised them that my flight plan was going to be changed. I guess technically I can do that now. You're supposed to communicate that whenever it's practicable. So I didn't really forget, but probably should have done it a little sooner.
Traffic advisory for south end of Pit Lake, Bell 206, Gulf Lake Lima, 2,000 feet, and we're east to west, and headed for Widgeon Valley. Any traffic in the Widgeon Valley area, Bell 206, Gulf Lake Lima.
All right. Glen Valley traffic, Cessna 172, Golf Alpha Golf Victor, over Crescent Island at 3000, heading back to Pitt Meadows. Alright, let's get our ATIS set up here.
Mills Airport, ATIS information, Delta, limited weather 2320 Zulu, wind 20010, tower visibility 20.
Alright, we're still on Delta.
Traffic Cessna 172, Foxtrot Charlie Tango, 8,300 climbing 3,000 feet, 1 mile south of Swanisett, heading north to Pit Lake for airwork, Pit Lake traffic.
Range helicopter Victor Papa, just to the north of the rail yard, transiting around the Pit Meadows control zone, and then down the river heading to the west.
Okay, so now I'm going to go a little further north because I want to land on 18, so I might as well be over there.
Glen Valley traffic, helicopter India Bravo uniform is just about to cross the river at 1,200 feet. I'm at the west end of Mountsley Island, headed northeast.
Glen Valley traffic, Cessna 172, Golf Romeo Echo India, at 1,000 feet out of overhead farmers fields out of the Crescent Island, simulating precautionary landing, overshoot to the west, climbing to 2,000.
Let's come down a little bit.
0010, tower visibility 20, sky condition, view above 5,000, altimeter 3013, high for approach visual, running 18, landing and departing, running 18. Note, due to reduced system capacity, VFR aircraft may anticipate delays and circuit training will be limited. Inform ATC on initial contact, give information Delta. Mills Airport, ATIS information Delta, limited weather.
So I'm coming down to 2,000. They coordinated.
It's common traffic, just ran helicopter Victor Papa, just 5 miles to the northeast, Pitt Meadows, tracking south along the river for Chilliwack.
Pit Lake traffic, Cessna 172, Foxtrot track.
Pit Tower, Cessna 172, Golf Alpha Golf Victor over Albion at 2,100, inbound for a full stop at Delta.
Golf Alpha Golf Victor, Pit Tower squawk it in, ready 18, altimeter 3012, clear to left base.
Sorry, say again, left base for 18?
That's correct.
Alright, left base 18, Golf Victor.
Golf Victor, identified traffic at your 1 to 2 o'clock, 3 miles southeastbound helicopter, 2,500.
Was that last call from Victor Charlie Papa? I might have stepped on you.
Victor Charlie Papa, negative, number 1, ready 18 though.
Victor Charlie Papa, number 1, thanks.
Alpha Golf Victor Tower traffic at your 1 to 2 o'clock and 3 miles southeastbound helicopter 2,500.
Looking for traffic, Alpha Golf Victor.
Quebec, Lima, Quebec, slight change to your squawk. Make sure you're squawking 2440.
2440, Quebec, Lima, Quebec.
Victor Charlie Papa, Tower clear touch and go ready 18.
Victor Charlie Papa.
Alpha Golf Victor, helicopter traffic passing above and to the right of you.
I have the traffic, Alpha Golf Victor. All right.
Quebec, Lima, Quebec Tower, Severe terminate change on restricted to flight.
Quebec, Lima, Quebec.
So I was clear to a left base, and that means I can head towards sort of like the beginning of the runway, and then, you know, with enough space to make a 90-degree left-hand turn and land the plane. And I've never done that on this particular runway without being in the circuit. Like, I've never actually approached it from across country. So I think I went really wide here, like excessively wide. The ATC is probably looking at the little dot on the radar going, come on, man, let's go. Anyways, runway 18 is not an approach I've flown. I'll give myself a bit of a break.
Okie doke. Let's see what we could do here.
Meadows ground, Golf Papa Kilo.
Golf Papa Kilo ground.
I'd like to make a local flight to Boundary Bay.
Golf Papa Kilo ground, roger. Running 26 left if you like, the wind 210 or running 18, your choice.
26 left is fine.
Golf Papa Kilo ground, running 26 left, altimeter 3012, taxi via Alpha, contact me on tower holding short, and squawk 2454.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Alpha Golf Victor, taxi via Bravo into apron 1 and just monitor ground. There's no need to call.
Alpha Golf Victor, thank you. That was a crap landing, but what are you gonna do?
So I will take this opportunity to be super hard on myself, but for a good reason. I missed something really important. I didn't do a full landing check like I should have. This is a checklist item. It's a whole checklist in itself. Tanks on both, mixture rich, lights are good, gauges are green, mags on both, master is on, I'm secure, passenger is secure, tap the brakes. Now we can land. If you ever hear a story about a plane landing and they didn't put their landing gear down, and you think, how could that happen? Well, that's how it happens. What I just did here. You just auto land on autopilot in your brain without doing the very bare minimum of checklists. That's why they're there. So, me, don't do that.
Oh, fuel selector valve, both tanks. Oh, what am I doing? Flaps retract. Good. Transponder to standby. Heater heat off. Strobe light off. Taxi light on. Ground lean. Landing time 6:20. Well, that really wasn't a great flight, to be honest. Wasn't a great flight. You know what? Didn't have my mental clarity today, I don't think. Well, what did I do well? I fought through the fact that I haven't flown for like, I don't know, geez, almost 4 weeks now? 3.5 weeks? So, unfortunately, flying is a perishable skill, and this wasn't a great one. But, on the other hand, I got a diversion done. Missed the call at the end, but I remembered at the very end.
So even though this wasn't the most fantastic flight I've been on, there's still some opportunities to learn here. Remembering your checklists, that's of course important. Doing diversions quicker, some pre-flight items like making sure you know the endurance. During flight things that are habit-forming things that you need to do, like taking the time over each of your waypoints. It just has to get into your head. I know it's a bit artificial when you're flying and practicing, and if you're on an actual cross country, it might be a little more second nature, but these are flight test items, and these are things that have to be drilled into your head. One thing I do want to mention, which is worth noting, at least to myself, or maybe as a caution to anyone who's watching this, is the night before I was woken up by like a pager alert that we had from work, and it must have woken me up at just the absolute wrong time in my sleep cycle. And when I woke up that day, I was just in a complete brain fog, and I really couldn't shake it. No matter what I did, went for a workout, made sure I ate well, and even though I counted my hours of sleep, I felt like it was fine, but I just never really felt like on my game. And it really showed here. There were things that were taking me so much longer and a couple half seconds, and I really had to think about it. And it just makes you think about what role fatigue plays in, pressure situations or anxiety, like when high anxiety, stressful situations. Now, as I gain more experience, doing this type of stuff isn't going to be as anxiety because you're going to have experience. But it's no joke. When you are fatigued, it really affects you. And I don't think it was to the point where I shouldn't have flown, but it's certainly something to keep in mind that, especially as a student, when you're going to go up for a flight lesson, you got to do everything you can to be ready, like mentally. So good sleep, don't stay up late, no, alcohol or anything like that. Like, do prepare like an athlete and do the same thing every time so that when you're up in these situations that you've got 100% of your processing capability. In my case, maybe my 100% isn't as high as others, but um, it's just something to keep in mind. Anyways, that was the flight. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll make more soon, and thank you. See you, me.